Alrighty. So, may I invite everyone to bring the mind back to themselves and to maybe for the first time or for the end time of the day, just release and let go of everything. You can start from your mind. Just tell your mind to let go, release, together with a deep breath, and let go of all the worries and your muscle tension on the exhale. The thing that the mind might be holding on to, you can just tell it to release and let go so that there's nothing left, allowing the peace to take its place. We can take the first few minutes to relax the body, doing a body scan, just so that we give a thorough investigation of our body so that the tension that might be hiding around us, inside of us, can be released. So for the first few minutes, we can settle down. And after we have settled down, let's bring our mind toward our object. Think as if you're bringing a mind back home to where it needs to be, with you, with yourself, on a place for the mind to be at. Like a resting, nesting place for the mind. And together with the mind, take refuge and relax. In the meantime, you are allowing the mind to clean itself, preparing for the lesson that is to come. And as we have given time for our mind to clear itself, whenever we feel like we are ready, we can gently open up our eyes. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Well, welcome to the second day of the course. As I mentioned, there won't be like a set time frame, but hopefully, as we move on day by day, one class by class, we'll get to a point where we'll not only go through all of the uh, key buzzwords that we want to know about, but also why is it that is taught and what is the key point of those various topics. Mm, And to get to that point, I want to bring it back to what we studied last time as a recap. So, as you might have read in what I've written, last class we mainly talk about that the Dharma is essentially is a vital tool that once used allows you to get to where the Buddha got himself to, because that is exactly what he did. And therefore, by finding the way out and how to get finding the way out and how to get out of it, meaning discovering the tools and how to use those tools, he then bring these knowledge to then tell other people to say, hey, this is what I've used, this is how I've used them, and to get there. But of course, along the way, there will be various problems and obstacles of different kind, different perspective. That's why Buddhism is so thick, like the text, because those 84,000 discourses are different answers or tools to overcome different problems and obstacles that arises along the way toward the end destination. Yeah. So you see, Buddhism in its entirety is about Dhamma or tools, knowledge, understanding that help once used properly to get to the end point. So that's what we're gonna learn and get to. And last time, this echoed what Zoe said about teaching being personalized, and that's she's on the money on that, because mostly it's about that. People having different problem, different obstacle, with the various stages, various background. Yeah, so that's why it's so thick. And what Williams asked about what should we study about in Buddhism, because it seems that there's so much, but actually the key thing that we have to understand is the skeleton, the core, where everything are a extra, secondary, that help make the core more easily utilized and to help get to the endpoint. Uh, you it can be equate to like um imagine you have this thick book of encyclopedia of like a body of resource, like a library. You don't have to read the whole catalog, but only select the one that you need. And you see that throughout your life, you might visit the library often, but every time, or actually in every chapter in your life, you browse through different section. It might be that in the beginning you browse about comics and children's book because you're at that age. Getting older, you might browse of some academic like a book about studying or more various topic that teenagers like to know about. When you go to young adult, you pick up a higher level of academic book or a hobby that you really invest in, like music or sports. When you get older, become parent, then parenting book or career book become more prevalent. Middle age might be finance and economics. 40s, 50s might be health and dietary. 60s, 70s might be like more of thing that you can do when you're old, or something that about life, about meditation, something that going to close off your last chapter of your life. And you see, these are the kind of books that we turn to as we face different problems in each state of our life. So we can then take the same understanding of that and map it to Buddhism once again, and said, hey, our journey toward the end point is like journeying through life, where we're going to go through different phases, different chapters, and each chapter will have their own set of problems and obstacles. Because no one is the same, there will be different questions that need different answers to. So personalization works there, but all of those things are set upon a core that if you have that core, then it will help you. And the core for real life is literacy and basic education, right? You have to know how to read the book, how to understand the book. That's kind of the core of it. That enables you to use the resources in the library. And today we'll begin with uh, the core. Sorry, the core we can talk about today, but we're going to talk about a topic first. Continuing from last time, we talked about Dharma. And I want to make a statement here is that everything that you learn in Buddhism, the teaching, everything is a tool. It is literally a tool for you to utilize. And once understood, once used, then let go. Just like how we are in a workshop, want to build a bird's nest. We have so many things in a chat, but we pick and use them um, as appropriate, giving the task at hand, the problem that you face, and the stages of building a bird nest. But people don't know that. They thought teaching is teaching, and so therefore they dive right in, and it turns something beautiful into something that they find themselves stuck in, like a jail that, like a rabbit hole that keep on sucking them in and dry, and they can't escape from it. Maybe they have invested times in it, but overall it doesn't provide the benefit that it should have if you use it correctly. So I want to start off by stressing that the thing that you learn are tools, uh, not in the traditional sense, not in the thing that you can touch and hold, but intangible tools. The same thing that um, worldwide, nationwide, every government want to support education. The tools, the set of knowledge that we need to use. EQ, or no, IQ, the kind of like the clinical side of thing, and also lately becoming more popular, the emotional sort of thing too, like the interpersonal life skills, interaction, communication, socializing, or even mental work on yourself. Now, these are tools that we can't touch, can't see, but use all the time. So Buddhism is more on that part than the thing that you can touch and hold. So we can say I use calmness to calm myself down. I use understanding to uh, contemplate. I use patience against this guy, for example. I need to use understanding against that guy. I need to use um, endurance against this class because it's so long, as for something like that. You know? So you see, it is a tool that you use, and if you don't have endurance, then you can't use it. Then you suffer from not having endurance. Okay, now so far so good about what the class is about and the tools. Great. My three thumbs up. Oh, there's up. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the role and responsibility of tools and why I said that as a society, we are not conditioned, but are set up in the ways that everyone must have these things. Why is it that every government push people to use the tools to go to education? Mm. You know, do you realize that every waking moment, from the moment that you wake up until the moment you go to bed, you are surrounded by and utilizing the tools around you, tangible and intangible. What should I use to clean my face when I wake up? A face wash, a face foam. What should I use to make me not have stinky breath? You know, mouthwash and then toothbrush, toothpaste, right? What tools do I need to use to safely uh, transport my waste? You got your toilet over there. And you see, this is just about the toilet. We haven't talked about how to make your food, how to protect your body from external things, like clothing, or hide your shame with your pants and your shirt, or transport to your workplace. That's what you see that throughout the day, these are the tangible tools that we use to achieve a purpose, a goal. When interacting with people or when doing something, we also need to use intangible tools too. Now, how can I go along with my friends, my family, my coworker? How can I not create problems today? Now, there's no like magic wand that you can use or hit people with, but it is the mental tools, not the tools in your mind to use. And every day we are always using that. So therefore, uh, and even when we have to solve problems, wisdom is the tool that we use to solve it, right? So even our smartness is not our smartness because we are not the one being smart. It is the wisdom that does the job. So in Buddhism, we say that human can't do anything much, or really can't do anything, not at all, but almost at all. Because throughout the day, throughout our life, we are just waking up, um, waking up to go to school, to learn the tools, and to use the tools, tangible or intangible, right? Every day, ever since we're young, we have to get educated to know what the tools are. That's one, and two, how to use them. And as we become proficient enough, become independent, then we then have to use what we learn. This is the phrase that we heard before. Use what you learn, use what you study. Those are tools. And you use them to achieve a particular goal. That's the point here. Why do we have to study anything if we don't have a reason to use them, right? And so a tool is associated when used by a purpose. It is something that will help you. It is the thing that makes you become successful in what you do. The right one is the right tool brings success. The the example that I always bring up is water and the tool called sugar. If I want to make this water sweet, right? If I put salt in, it doesn't work and make it salty. I put water in, sugar in, then it does work. If I want to make you guys hear my voice like this, I should use this microphone instead of shouting at my laptop, right? It is this microphone that I can talk like this to you guys. Or if I need to see stuff, I need to use light. If I need to, like, I think you get the point. Yeah. So to recap this point that I'm talking about here, that tools that first human, including ourselves, is not wise, not capable. Now we can do barely anything, but it is the tools that make it seems like our life we are wise and capable and that we can do stuff. But it's the tools that we use. It's on your behalf to study them and to use them properly. And you are the one who seems like a superhero, even though your mind, even though you yourself is not that capable. Mm, I want to highlight this point a bit further. It's like if you are really really smart, then why is it that there are times where you can't think of anything? It's like you're blank. Even to answer basic question, you're like, mm, I seem like a not so smart guy at that moment because for now you're blank. You're in unknown. You're blank. You're dizzy. Because you're unknown, you're blank, you're dizzy. Your mind's polluted or chaotic or stressed. Your wisdom cannot arise up. Right? Now people panic. They can't use their wisdom. But if they're innately smart, then they should have access to it all the time. But because of the fact that pollution hinders it, when we are anxious, wisdom cannot come up. So people who suffer a lot from mental pain, who like panic or cry or have strong emotion, to get to wisdom, they say it's very difficult. So meaning that to get to the tool is difficult. Therefore, innately we don't have that, right? It's the tool that make it happen. Now, so I want you guys to reflect on this a little bit. Now, the next point is regarding the tools and how and why we use them. We use them for a goal, for a purpose, to achieve, to attain that goal. Now, so tool is used for those purpose. So far, so good. The point that I'm making before we go to the core. Or anyone have anything to? Yes, William, please.
I just wanted to ask about the concept of tools and wisdom. When you
Yes.
say wisdom, do you mean the correct application of tools that we have learned? Or do you mean like instinct? Is there differentiation between those two?
Yes. One a question that I was asked is what's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? And I asked this to my teacher, and he clarified to me that knowledge is just the raw data or information, right? The wisdom is how the mind then compute, uh, compilate, the data into a proper solution. You might know a lot, but if you're not wise, then you can't use what information you have. So there's the wisdom part. Instinct. Why does instinct come in? For this specific question, before we move on, is the fact that we can call it wisdom or we can call it instinct too, because instinct is just a term we use to recognize the thought that came up by itself. That's it. It might be that in moments that you need your wisdom, it just boop, pop up. We can say that, oh, instinct is the one who helps you, points you, answer to your question of what you need to do. But in reality, it is the wisdom that answer it. So the term instinct is just used to highlight the fact that thoughts, many of the thoughts, and in reality of the thought, are not your own as they arise by itself. Even the prompt is the thing that instinct comes up. You engaging in this prompt might seem like you're thinking, but the prompt itself is not brought up by you. It's like inviting to think, inviting to this and that. But invitation is not you. Now the instinct then go further into categorizing that there are good instinct, bad instinct, not good, not bad, which provide different outcome, have different characteristic. Did I answer your question, William?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Could I just ask a quick follow-up question then?
Yes, please.
Would wisdom maybe be a way of utilizing the tool of knowledge, not because we are differentiating knowledge and wisdom, right?
Yes.
Of utilizing the tool of knowledge to better react, because you're talking about how you think you're thinking, but it may just be a reaction or something that just happens
Mm,
in that sense. Like, because your instinct might be to hit someone because you're angry, but your wisdom says no, that's not a good idea. That's what I
mm.
mean.
Knowledge is raw information. So we know not to be angry. We know what to do. We know how to behave ourselves. We know how to be a good, reasonable person. But man, are we not wise when push come to shove? When like, hey, we know, but we're not the wisest guy. Not because we don't know, we know, but we can't use what we know. So wisdom is about utilizing your knowledge. Knowledge itself is just information. So I hope that clear things up, William. Mm. Okay. Yes, Carmen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think you might want to say what you were teaching earlier today on the screen to the left, where you said that for wisdom to come about, what we need is sati first. We have to know
Oh,
first. So can you talk about the process, how it comes up? Because I think William, if I understand him correctly, he would like to know how does then what exactly is that wisdom,
mm,
and how do we use it as a tool if we're not bringing it up? So then how do we use it? Can you talk about the process?
yes. Thank you, Carmen, for going deeper onto this. Um, so I want to share, to point out or highlight of how we deal with problem in our life and how we should apply what we learn, specifically mindfulness and wisdom too. So without take away everything that you learn for now and just have a case study of us, of ourselves, when we go through troubled times. Now, so imagine a person um, right now having a panic attack or like sort of some dire situation in the mind. They feel not nice, anxious, panicked, not, and people and the goal is how can we help that person. And what did we do to help ourselves out of those situations? Because we've been there before and we escaped before, even if we don't know how we did it, but we did it. So here is to highlight how we do it. The first point is to be aware, is to be aware of yourself that right now I'm panicking, right now I'm nervous, right now I'm jealous or whatever situation that you're in. I'm that. And if we take the time to slow down time and look at it frame by frame, we know that it is not that we can boop, think of a way out or wisdom. It takes some time to just be aware of the fact that you're angry, you're jealous, you're in that situation. What you're doing at that point is that when you're mindful yourself, you bring the mind into a system that is good. Run the program to help you liberate from suffering, attain happiness. That's what you're doing when you know. Nah? Same with meditation too. So in the big, that's why, therefore, we are stuck in being aware for quite a while. Actually, for those who are in that situation, just oh, okay, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm like this, until it subsides a little bit, until the pollution cleans off. There's some space. There's some, the eruption dies down, and then your instinct or your instinct comes and say, "Hey, this is what you gotta do." Bring you the solution to the problem that you're facing, because the good instinct or your wisdom, same thing here in this context, want you to be free from the pain, from suffering, and to happiness. So therefore, they will do, if they know, if we have the knowledge that is needed to solve this problem, the wisdom will bring the knowledge to say, hey, William, try this because you did it in the past or you learned it before. Or two, if the mind sees that you don't have adequate information or knowledge to solve the issue at hand, they will point you to someone or something to answer it in their stead. Meaning, if there's no knowledge inside of you, then your instinct will tell you to find knowledge somewhere else. But the point is for you to gain that tool or that knowledge to use it. Now, so the second point here is to point you to the information. Now that you, now third one, now that you attain the information, you have to be the one who decide I'm going to use it or not. Now, like going for someone for advice, you decide to take it or to leave it. Same with your wisdom too, right? You deep down, you know that you're gonna do this, either take it or leave it. If you decide to do it, then you get the benefit. But if you're strong-hearted, if you're like a bit naughty, then you say, no, 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 I don't like it. If it's the correct one. Yeah. So the third point is about accepting or rather ordering to use the tool. Now that you have used the provided answer, then what happened? You had to keep on, you had to use concentration to keep on using it. A easy example that we can bring up that we have in our daily life is being patient. Right? We know that right now, I'm boiling up. I'm boiling up because I have to wait at the DMV for like 3 hours, for example, or immigration. So I'm boiling up right now, but I know that okay, I'm boiling up. I'm aware I'm boiling up. I have a goal that I don't want to boil up anymore. What should I do? And my wisdom said, "Oh, I'm lacking patience right now. That's what I need." I would also advise my friend who, if they're in the same situation, that hey, patient. So what we're gonna do here is tell ourselves, be patient, be patient, be patient. Concentrate on the state of patience. Just like you tell your friend, hey dude, calm down, be patient. You don't tell him once, you tell him to be patient and continue to be patient. As you concentrate on the state of patient, now patientness, the state of patient, does its job to then deal with the unpatientness for it to die down, run the good system, and eventually lead you to an outcome that you are patient. You're able to endure, able to be patient. Same with being anxious. Calm down, settle down. You see that you're gonna have to concentrate on being settled down or calming yourself down until you're complete. The process, the program is done. And this is how we deal with problems that arise in our mind all the time. It's just that we there's no one to point to you what happened, or we didn't take the time to reflect on the sequence of events. But it speaks one thing that it is tools that you use to help you at the time. You're not capable, you're not some magician to, suddenly become patient or calm, understanding. But it's the tools that you use without you realizing it that makes you like that. So did that answer your want, Carmen, and they satisfy you, William? Okay, thumbs up. All right. So very good question. Now, very good. Now we're gonna add more, giving new perspective of what tools really mean for those who listen in later on. Now, the core, the skeleton of Buddhism in, in respect to tools, right? Now we're gonna begin to dive deep into those topics that we are curious about: ego, karma, this and that. It have to begin by understanding not Buddhism but real life first of the association of tools and the association related to tools. Right? We know that they have tools, but tools is not the whole picture. They have to be the one using the tools and the purpose, the outcome of the desired outcome of using the tool. I drink water to be hydrated. I run to be fit. I look at my phone to distract myself. I flirt to get to the other person. Right? So therefore, if you utilizing a tool for an outcome. Now this is logical enough, right? Makes sense so far? I want us to follow on this easy base. uh, Right? Okay. That's why in Buddhism we teach about the three things. The person who used the tool itself, and the outcome. For those who haven't heard about instinct nature yet, I want to take, because it's going to be up online, I want to take 5 minutes now to talk about this. In Buddhism, even in this class, we point to the nature, the instinct, but specifically we point to the nature of those instincts, and that hey, our thought mostly that are not our own because it pop up by itself. A bad instinct, a bad nature, a good instinct, good nature, huh? Or not good, not bad. These guys have a goal. Why is my good instinct or my good friend inside is doing what they are doing? Well, the goal is to help us live away from suffering and find happiness. Right? That's what you guys learn. What about your bad nature, bad instinct? All those thoughts that you didn't think of, you don't want to think of it, but keep on coming up. Well, they want you to suffer, the opposite of a good friend, a bad friend. And so, how would a bad friend then do things to me? A friend who doesn't wish anything good for me, but everything bad for me. And you see, they have to use what? All the information. And they have to use of the thing at their disposal. They bring up trauma. They bring up anxiety. They bring up this and that. So many tools for to be used against you. That you see, that's why you see the person using it, the tools being used, and the outcome once used. Anxiety brought it up. Using anxiety to force you to do something that is not good. You're gonna regret it later. Using anger, pump it up, anger, to make you shout that thing up, to break someone's heart, to break up a community. Use your shame to lock you behind closed doors, to shut you away, preventing you from other benefits. Using shame for the same thing, right? Using feeling small, feeling like you're not worthy enough to suffocate you. Right? So you see, as I'm saying these sentences, it's like bad instinct use a tool for the outcome. And many of the tools that they use are ego, right? The buzzword. Many of the tools that they use are karma. Many of the tools and outcome are cycle of rebirth of right. Those are of the bad, for example. And the buzzword for the good, meditation, mindfulness, true self, and all the dhamma that the Buddha taught. Right. Um, self, non-self, also tools of the bad too, right? Self, non-self. So all these things are just tools to use to you to make an outcome. One day, a few days ago, we talked about labeling. I am an activist. I am a Thai. I am, name it, right? And in Western world, labeling and identifying, is so prevalent yet so divisive. It has its good thing and a bad thing. But I want to, for those who haven't heard it, I want to share a perspective from Buddhism and from where I grew up in Eastern world. And why so it's not as prevalent and still not is, but getting more as Western influence comes in. Um, it is like a target dummy where you have this thing. Let's say this is let's say I call myself a Democrat or a Republican or whatever name. I put a label on this one, and this right. I am this. You said I am the remote control, for example. This is it, right? I am remote control. That's my label. So when we bind us towards something as a substitute, we might do it because we want to be proud of the accomplishment of this remote control, right? Accomplishment of a fellow Thai is your accomplishment. World Cup, for example, accomplishment of the 11 players on the field plus staff and substitute are the accomplishment of the entire nation, right? Olympics, World Cup, Miss Universe, for example, accomplish of a uh, okay, label, right? And so that might be one reason why people do so because they want to feel like, you know what, I want to have some worth in my life. People want to look for benefit, for worth, from proudness, something, value, you know, something like that. But it does have a consequence because if we us put our name on the label, then inevitably, because we know that bad instinct inside exists everyone, people can attack the remote control or the label. But because you substitute the label for you, it is no different than attacking you. People say, "Oh, Thai people are such and such," if I'm an advert then it's like you assault to me, even though they're not talking about me. Well, they are talking about me because I'm Thai and they are attacking Thai. See, but if I don't care, I don't bind myself to that label, then just like we have toward people discriminating against this or not or like making fun of other nationalities, other labels. Just make sure that you don't make fun of my label. That's fine. So that's why this concept. That's why Buddhism. We in Eastern world we grew up not being taught this, but rather taught because we see the unique consequences. Yes.
Hiya. I kind of have missed part of the section, so it was a really interesting subject, and I had to go and make lunch. And then I never got around to watching the rest of it on YouTube. It is really interesting. I do agree. I do. Unfortunately, in the West, we have been brought up with such strong labels, and I can see and appreciate how it causes a lot of suffering. But something I've kind of always been interested in, and the kind of questions been in my mind since, definitely there isn't as much labeling in the West, but why is it that, or sorry, in the East, there isn't as much labeling, but it's literally illegal for a woman, a female, to become a monk? So there is to some degree that type of labeling in a bit of an extreme way, in that because I have certain body parts, I'm not allowed to become a monk, and it's different in different countries. But in Thailand, it's prevalent in I can't even give you a hug if I seen you in the future and you're a monk, because I'm a female, and it's literally against the law for females. And I know that there's a group of female monks as well, in a nunnery, but they've had to go to Sri Lanka to get ordained, and then they legally aren't allowed to call themselves a monk. So there is still that some labeling, and it is kind of on the extreme end, because it's an actual law, you know.
Yeah. This is one of the common question that got asked too. Why there's no female monks? And unfortunately, because the information isn't well versed, the answer given might not satisfy people and might be misconstrued. So I will take the time to clarify first. During the Buddha time, there are both male monks and female monks. The reason it's separated is one thing is that in in um, in this path, celibacy or lack of sensual pleasure is the key point, one of the key points. Apart from the other sense, we also don't overlook the body sense too. So therefore, for both male and female who wish to want this, then the Buddha allow ordination for both male and female monks. Right? So therefore, there are female monks and male monks. But of course, with the fact that opposite, sex attracts, then put in a different monastery. So therefore, male and female monks are exist. Because of those separation with that reason in mind, the Buddha said, okay, now you have monks on both sides of the aisle, male monks, female monks. So therefore, if there will be new ordinance, then the female monks will have to ordain female monks, male monks have to ordain male monks. So therefore, the segregation then come because it's the desire of those who want to be in the community to begin with. So it's not from discrimination, but from the wanting and the loving of that celibacy or that purity in all the senses. It just so happened that the female monks lineage died down early on, and then as Buddhism spread, it died down in different places, but still live on in Sri Lanka. So in Thailand, it's not that it's illegal, but it's that in this discipline, like Buddha said clearly, only female can ordain female, male can ordain male. It's just that there's no female monk in Thailand. That's all. So because of that, to be ordained as a monk by a male monk, it goes against the rule to begin with. A rule that is everyone agreed upon and have been lived upon. So therefore, it is now then a minority segment in Buddhism, not because it is shunned, but rather it is over 2,500 years it haven't lived onto that. Can female be female monks? Of course, yeah, it is over there. Or if it is other tradition that okay with it, then go ahead. But this is the lineage of it. So the segregation doesn't come from discriminant, but rather both side wanting that to begin with, because they desired it, but just that one didn't pass on longer than the next. So that's why it is the state right now. But then still monasteries in Thailand, because people still want it, but there's just no female in Thai temple. Like the temple that the great teacher of my teacher built, he built a whole temple just for female nuns, not monks but nuns, because there's no that rule against nuns. So therefore, anyone can be nuns, anyone can be male nuns. So therefore, there are many schools and academia where nuns goes to and practice and study. Yeah, so there's also that option too. So I hope that illuminates a little bit of why it is the way it is right now, more than 2,500 years past from that point.
It definitely helps. Thank you. And I was thinking too about, because we live in such a strong society and culture of like labeling, it's very hard to then detach and then like unlabel things, because it's a difficult environment to do that. Because even if you choose to do that, like your family may do that, like your friends may be, like everyone around you. So if someone's in like the West and they're wanting to detach from, okay, I don't want to like feel hurt when people say like potentially sexist or misogynistic things and things like that, how do you then detach from that? Because it's kind of inevitable that it's going to happen anyway. So how protect yourself from like getting hurt by that? And at what point is it sort of like if you work with someone and their behavior continues to kind of be like untoward towards you, and it kind of like escalates and gets worse, at one point you have to say, actually this behavior is maybe like becoming like a concern for me and maybe like my personal safety. Maybe I do have to say something and maybe like not having that label like this doesn't help. But I feel like it's a
Yes.
hard one. It's not easy to just be like, oh, I'm just not going to be female anymore, because like men will always look at me as if like I am a female, and then they may act towards me in certain ways that I feel comfortable with, and that makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. And it's hard to, like, if I get catcalled or if I get like someone touches me inappropriately, I find it hard to just be like, oh well, I don't really agree with being a female. I like, it's not that for me to like then kind of, do you know what I mean? Like I don't know what would help me in that situation if that did happen again in the future, even if I didn't feel like really like attach myself to the label of being female. I feel like it would still make me feel uncomfortable and potentially like scared, and you know.
Yes. I saw William raise his hand, so I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna answer Sue's question first. The reason that this is brought up, why labeling or like self or ego is one of the topic in Buddhism to begin with, is that it is a tool of the bad nature inside of everyone, because it is then legitimize their tools, legitimize, or rather makes a enable, bring up an excuse, a topic, a reason why I should be this, be this, be this. I don't. When we talk about this, I want to take back to you and yourself, your own experience for the moment when you have bad nature inside of us. To then, the whole reason is to protect yourself first and foremost. That's why it's taught and say, hey, in no place and time ever that we want our mind to allow the bad to come in, to have any excuse, any reason for it to bring up anger of this, of that, because we don't want to bring any pollution. We don't want to bring any bad energy. We only want to bring in good energy. And so from that base, the ego and label is taught for that and that purpose solely, to protect oneself. It is not taught to then take away the importance of what happening around the world. But I want this to be a clear point first and foremost, and why it is taught in such a way. Not because it have an effect on you and you first, or on us and us first. Now the concern from Suvi is that how can we help to combat that, because it does bring pain, like rightly so, toward us and also other people. Now I'm gonna tackle it in two fronts. The first thing is that first thing is not only that labeling is a tool, but to a point where the Buddha said, don't label me, you, us, them. Don't label me, you, us, them. No divide. Me and you, us and them. I and Chinese, men and women. It become, it enable it to then, if the bad then control a person under that label to attack a person under a different label, then from that one interaction from two individuals can then amplify to those in the community of each one. So that from that segregation alone is difficult already. One, two, it divides resources. We see that around the world, resources are scarce. Actually, it have plenty, but because we divide, the ownership is mine, that's yours, is ours, that is you guys, that's theirs, then the resource that is limited is that divided. Instead of everyone getting to use what they need to be used, and then my money, my this, my that. There's one form of labeling too. May you abstain. Our privilege, our law, their privilege, all thing enabling all of this up. Now, how to fix it? For ourselves, to drop it is not to force yourself, but to drop it from a place where you're tired of allowing these labels to be used by the bad, to allow the bad to then bring up all the negative emotion, to rotten our mind to bring up negative energy. That is the point of view we have to take to then slowly dismantle this inside of us. But not to say that labeling is bad, but rather see them for what they are. People take up labeling because they want to be proud of something too. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my label. นะ They seek something to help them ครับอาจารย์พระอาจารย์รับเลยไหมครับเอาไว้ก่อนนะครับ but also that approach of helping themselves also come with a big consequences. So me saying this, have to acknowledge the good thing of why people use labeling, but I also have to acknowledge the elephant in the room too, and find a better way to disregard to then not have the elephant, but have all the benefits. All right. Now this is how you deal with yourself. Understand that okay, and see them as being, and even better, see them as good, bad, not good, not bad, in human and animals too. The last time I told a person, no, don't say that we are men, women, or this or that. We are people. Actually, that's even better one. We are being. Animals, dog, pet, cat, hedgehog, all have the same one as human too. Men, women, skin color, whatever it is. All is just a life. All being. That's why in Buddhism, all being. May all being be free from all suffering. May all being attain happiness. Now, we never say may Buddhists be free and may only Buddhists find happy. So we understand that the commonality in everyone, every being is there. By looking at them as such, and even with good, not good or bad instinct, going beyond, understand what's going on with these two guys or these three people. What is the reason behind it? Will help you understand is that behavior from that person is the right one, regardless of who they are directed toward. If it's bad, we recognize that it's bad. No matter who is expressing the bad thing. Boss, employee, men, women, or this or that. What bad is bad, what's good is good. That's why we have to be able to make a clear judgment and say that hey, this person who's governed by the bad shouldn't have that behavior to begin with. We can then allow ourselves to provide the resource, the limited resource that we have to benefit truly everyone. But everyone have their own cause that they love. So therefore, to go on and fight for the cause that we like to fight for, it would be best if we fight for them without that innate divide and that innate you, me, us, they. But to fight for the cause, whatever that cause that you believe in may be, from the fact that every being needs that thing. Because when it comes time for you to share your limited resources to other causes, it will help you to say, hey, it is the same. So it's a beneficial point of view that allows you to be ever giving, ever allow your love and kindness and compassion to expand wide and touch every heart. Yes. So to cut all the consequence from that and to elevate the benefit from it. So therefore, I never advocate for the fact that we should help Yes, help everyone, but never say that you should not help a specific group of people. You should always, whatever we believe in, whatever our outlet to be good at, please do so. But to elevate that, we can go for it by understanding that have a view that doesn't have an opening for the bad, and a view that can elevate ourselves even further. So hopefully that helps, Louis. I'm not sure if I answer your question or your concern or not.
I'm going to, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let it like settle and see like what it brings up. So yeah, I will get back to you at some point on it. But please feel free to answer William's questions now. And thank you for waiting, William, while I got mine answered.
Thank you for asking and answering. Mm, One thing that I see from many people who talk about sensitive topic like this, it is clear that somehow inside they are hurt. They're hurt from discussing topics such as this one, and even I fall victim to it too. Sometime like in the labeling that haven't able to throw away just yet. Now, of course, they have ego too, right? So therefore, when your ego is hurt, now you're hurt too, or your label is hurt, you're hurt too. So it then even even when we have to talk, even when we discuss this, the best is find a way to bring upon pain to you. So therefore, um, the realization of that and the giving it weight for the fact that I don't want to have any of this negativity to arise, to be enabled in my mind, to not block myself from moving forward. I should not have it in the first place. Yeah. Or else then, even I talked this to my teacher too today about teaching people about the not good, not bad, about the fun that they have while partying, walking in parks, and this and that. Because we see even in this class, if those who come every day, they will see that we talk a little bit about happiness outside and the thing that they love to do. And even if we touch a little bit on it, people get defensive. Something come up inside that help them to block it. Maybe it hurts them or touch something that might hurt them. Now, that's what they fear about or cautious about. So therefore, in my experience, my teacher to have that in me, I think that to have that in me to be used against me just like that, and to prevent me from learning more, to have open discussion to, and move forward. It is for me. It's not wise for me to have. Therefore, I see this benefit and slowly take it away, take it away. So because there's the benefit I saw, there's the benefit I got from, then I would like to share this to other people to who are interested in this topic and want to see if they want to do something about it or not, or at least hear a different perspective on it. All right. So I hope that it is well received now, and that you understand, see the good and the bad in all things. I last minute I will direct to Zoe now for her meditation. The image I have in mind is the idol, or the image I have in mind is like a guy who is like a wind, No matter what you throw at the guy, it doesn't hit him because there's nothing to hit. There's no target. So like be like a wind. No matter what is thrown at you, shot at you, what is discussed, hey, you're not hitting me, you missed me, and there's no me to begin with. So that's something that yeah. Yes, Carmen. Oh, Carmen. Oh, and William raised his hand. Oh my god, I'm going beyond time.
Yes, yes, yes. I wanted to remind you that William might want to ask his question before we start with the meditation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I feel like my question might lead to more discussion. So maybe we can save it for next time.
Okay.
If we're going to be moving into discussion, if I can remember it. It was just sort of a continuation of the question that
Oh,
Zoe asked. And you touched on some of it when you
then
were
can you
talking.
please write it down in the group or to me so that I can bring it next time? I think if it's gonna help elevate the class, then we should.
Sure. Or if you want, I can just ask it now and then you can think about it and we can
Oh
talk about
yes,
it.
I will
Okay.
type it in the chat.
So the question I was going to just ask about the concept of labeling was this is too big, I think, too big of a question, but the idea of removing ourselves from labels, not only for our own benefit, but potentially for the benefit of others, right? Because Zoe talked about, well, certainly I can just be like, I'm not going to attach myself to the concept of being a woman, but I still have to enjoy or suffer the aspects of being a woman, right? And we might be able to say, I'm not a Democrat, or I'm not a Republican, or I'm whatever. But at the very innate basis that we have is this: we're men. I mean, I'm a white man from the United States, so that garners me some privileges. So the question, I guess, was: should we be? What is the limit to the point to where we separate ourselves from these labels? Should we be actively pushing against labels that we might ourselves very much benefit from? I mean, is that something that? See, this is what I mean. It's quite a big question. So
Yes.
we can bring it to the next one. But
Yes.
that's what I was thinking about. That's what came up for me.
So a short answer for that before we give to Zoe and Ixan is the point I make is that we don't want to be used against us by the bad. That's all, right? Because first we want to protect ourselves. So if there is something that harming us and allowing the bad to legitimize their anger, their this, their that, then we should take care of it. Doesn't mean that what other people do outside is correct or incorrect. That is a separate topic that we should deal with too, in the ways that is proper. But then have to take care of yourself too. So that's why we can tackle social issues together with being safe ourselves, making sure that we are not putting up negative energy. And that is the key point of labeling that the Buddha taught us that, hey, don't make the bad use it in the bad way. That's all. All right. Yeah, so let's Carmen.
Sorry, not a question really. I just wanted to run past you to make like a mini summary of the lesson so that we kind of like have an overview of what happened. Being, if I'm correct and you correct me if I'm wrong, we started with looking at the tools that the Buddha used to be free from any kind of suffering, to self-enlighten, and basically the whole manual on how to use the tools. And you then talked about awareness being the number one tool because you need it as a base for any other tool. After that, you used as an example, as a tool of the good that arises in the mind and that we should choose when it comes up, wisdom. You then basically use that to say, choose the tools of the good when they come up, and avoid the tools of the bad, which we have to recognize when they come up and then not engage with. And then the last point that we were just talking about was labeling as an example of a tool that the bad uses in ourselves, but also in others. So that we have to be aware of the fact when it uses this inside of us, if I understand correctly, because we do not want to pull up negative energy inside of us, but we have to face the reality that other people don't know about that or might not be at a point where they're able to not accept it. So they will still accept the tool of the bad, they will still use it, and they will themselves still create bad energy for themselves. But we don't want to, on top of that, create negative energy for ourselves. So the not using of the tool is something that you then choose for yourself once the tool of the bad arises in your mind. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. So now you see how that one example of label fit in with the point that the Buddha want to liberate from suffering and hit happiness. Now, that is one point of suffering that he said, hey, this point, I want to talk about this one a little bit because it is one source and how it's used by the bad. So I want every topic here, there might be some certain topic that we're gonna get to, but I want you to bring it back to the core of why the Buddha taught. That is the whole thing.